This is America's Workforce, the voice of working families in Northern Ohio. 1 solid hour of fact-finding features, in-depth interviews, informative news segments, and practical consumer reports. Tune in now and every weekday afternoon from 4 to 5 as we stand up for you, your family, and our community. Now, here's your host, Ed Flash Barrett.
Here we go again. Ohio Republicans moving forward with right to work for less. Hostess back, but where's the union? And today on the broadcast, the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades. We'll talk about a victory at Channel 3 and all about Bike Cleveland. Good afternoon and welcome to the Wednesday, May 1st edition of America's Workforce. We call it Labor Radio, 1490 WERE. A little bit of cloud cover tonight, 54 overnight low. Yeah, love the springtime weather. Sunny tomorrow. High of 73. Same goes for Friday. A little bit cooler. Low 70s Saturday and Sunday. All right, we have actually 3 featured guests on the broadcast today. We're going to kick things off in a few minutes with Ken Rigmaiden. Had Ken on the show, I want to say maybe 6 or 8 months ago. He is the new general president of the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades, IUPAT.org. This was effective about a month ago, April 1st, when Jimmy Williams officially stepped down from office. And Ken was unanimously elected by the union's General Executive Board after being endorsed by all of the business managers. We have a statement here from Jimmy. Ken Rigmaiden is more prepared to lead this international than I was 11 years ago. We've been working together for the past 19 years, both on the local level in the Bay Area and in Washington, D.C., and I knew from the first time I saw Ken chair a local union meeting, he had the quality of leadership that sets him apart from the average leader. In my opinion, there will be no learning curve. He's good to go from day one. A little background on Ken. He became a floor covering installer apprentice in District Council 16, Local Union 12. That was in San Jose, California, going back to 77. In the following years, he was elected by his fellow members to serve in many leadership positions on both the local and district council levels. Fast forward to 1996, he was tapped to work for the union on the international level in the IUPAT Western region as general rep. A year later, 1997, he began working for the international headquarters in Washington, D.C. as an assistant to the general president, with responsibilities in national agreements and jurisdiction, as well as serving as the national project coordinator for their Jobs Corps program, among other duties. He was elected to the position of Executive General VP for the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades in 2002. So Kenny Rigmaiden will be our first guest. We'll talk about if there's going to be any changes in leadership, what he sees for the future for the painters and allied trades. He also wants to talk about a charity. Recently, Kenny presented a $10,000 check to United Cerebral Palsy. My Child Without Limits was the name of the campaign. The donation was the result of an extremely successful campaign last fall, which the Patch Foundation pledged a dollar donation up to $10,000 for each new like on the Patch Facebook page. Well, that's a promotion that certainly worked. And if you go to the website, you can see Kenny presenting that check, that $10,000 check. So we'll get into that. Let's go to line number 1. We got a jam-packed show this afternoon. Kenny Rigmaiden will be joining us right now from line number 1. Kenny, is that you?
Yes, it is. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing fabulous. Congratulations, my man.
Oh, thanks a lot. And like you said in your intro there, man, the Indians, boy, they were rocking. I guess my buddies, Jim Wittrobe in District Council 6, got to be loving that today.
Oh, yeah, it was definitely a good night. I was thinking about Jimmy Williams. I know he's from Philadelphia. I'm sure he's a Phillies fan, but I'll tell
Absolutely.
you. Well, we had Kenny on the show, I don't know, maybe 6-8 months ago, and I really enjoyed the interview with you. And lo and behold, look at this. You're the head of the union now. I like that. I think America's Workforce had a little play in that.
I'm going to tell you, you know what? Getting me out into the public eye like that was fantastic. and you know what? I got to tell you, you mentioned Jimmy Williams, and me being able to transition and get elected by my general executive board and endorsed by our business managers, secretary, treasurers, such as Jimmy Watroba and the other 34 business managers across North America, is got to be in part related to Jimmy and his style of management. And I just have to say that the partnership that Jim and I had for these last 11 years has really been a great experience for me and him. We both learned a lot from each other. And the one thing that clicked, Flash, for Jim and I was that we just had this innate trust of each other.
Yeah.
He never had to look over his shoulder and wonder what I was doing. I never had to look over my shoulder and wonder what he was doing. And we just had a really good partnership that certainly helped us grow. And I believe helped the union grow too. So hats off to him. And by the way, we're going to be having a dinner for him that's going to benefit some of his favorite charities like MS and I think our Patch Foundation. I think that's coming up June 1st, but you'll be hearing about from Jimmy and about that from Jimmy and the guys.
Yeah, give me all the details on that, and we'll promote it here on America's Workforce. We've talked about MS, his daughter, and I have actually two daughters. My twin daughters have it, and you guys have been very, very generous in our MS walk here, so we certainly do appreciate that. That's just one of the many, many things that makes me proud to be a union member. You know, it's just great. It's so down to earth. It's improving the lives of the workers and the community at the same time.
Oh man, you're like rolling right in my wheelhouse there. One of the things that we endorsed at our last general convention in 2009 was a resolution that we called our core resolution. And it's really simply community organizing for real economics. And what we were trying to do, if you spin off what we learned with our COMET programs, trying to understand what went right with unions, what went wrong with unions, one of the things that we really have observed is that there wasn't good or strong linkage between our union and the communities where we lived and worked. And that's what we were trying to do, doing things such as our patch program, working with the AFL-CIO constituency groups, any group that wants to work with us. And I think you see the evidence of it, particularly in our building trades, brothers and sisters, where about project labor agreements. Well, now those have spun into what we call community benefit agreements, community workforce agreements, things like that recognize that in order for us to work and to get jobs and to work on projects that are developed, anything that has to do with energy efficiency, good jobs with livable wages, we have to make sure that we have partners.
Yeah.
And those partners are the folks who live in the communities where these jobs are being done. And if we show them a little respect and a little bit of love and some courtesy that they deserve because we're in their neighborhoods, I think it makes for a better synergy and a better way for us to move forward. So we're really proud of that.
It's a really good story to tell. And I'm sure what Jimmy Watroba has told you about the Medical Mart project here in Cleveland. This is a $500 million facility that's going to open in about a month. Project labor agreement. And listen to this, Kenny. $10 million less than what they projected. And 6 weeks early.
On time and under budget.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that story's being told. People don't understand that. And over the years, of course, now I got in the building trades in the mid-'70s. And I always say when I kind of wax on how things were, a lot of times we look back and say how great things were. And why aren't they so great now?
Yeah.
But I remember probably my first or second year in the trade, we had a contract negotiation, and we negotiated an agreement that was, for me, a tremendous agreement. I think it was something, Flash, like $4 a year for 3 years, an increase. And things kind of flipped after that. And those $4 increases went to 3, 2, 1, rollovers and all that stuff, recession after recession and all of that stuff as the economy kind of began to shift. But there was also this drive to really create the efficiencies. You see it all over the country where how can it be done the cheapest?
Oh, yeah.
What is the cheapest way to get that job done? Sacrificing safety, sacrificing skill, sacrificing quality, and sacrificing time. And I think as we as building tradesmen go out into the workforce, and we've gone directly to the general contractors, directly to the end users, directly to the business roundtable to try to state our case that, look, cheap is not quick, cheap is not safe, cheap is not quality. And trying to change that dynamic in the conversation, I'll be pleased to say that we're starting to maybe turn the table on that. We've got our warts, of course, but the things that people think about us or feel they know about us as building tradesmen is not really accurate. We're the highest skilled, most safety conscious, best trained, and as you talk about the medical mark, quickest workforce a person can have.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're continuing to push that and promote it. And of course, promoting it is one thing, and then living it and performing is another. And as you said, that medical mark project, and there are projects like that all over the country where we've done just that, on time, under budget, minimal callbacks.
Yeah.
Then we're continuing to push that, and we're getting traction there.
That's great. That's great. So I'm reading your bio. You took over. Is it about a month now that you've been general president?
I'm sitting here in the general president's office, and it took me about. Well, it took me. I've been here since April 1st, so like a month. And it took me nearly a month to say, I got to go to the boss's office. Oh, wait a minute. That's me. But yeah, so like April 1st, and I said, well, it wasn't an April Fool's joke. Jimmy, like I said, really is a man of his word and did everything he could to kind of smooth the way for me to assume the leadership position of our great union.
Yeah, I was reading earlier that he said, in my opinion, there's no learning curve. He's more prepared, he being you, is more prepared to lead this international than I was 11 years ago. So that's really some powerful words there. Let me ask you this, Kenny. What's your agenda? What's your plan here? I mean, organized labor. You got to hear this. They introduced right to work in Ohio today. I mean, it's crazy. We had SB 5 a couple years ago. These guys just don't learn, but they keep coming back again and again, attacking working men and women.
Absolutely. And me being all across the country, actually coming from California, I can recite the same thing. What you're reciting in Ohio, the same thing happened in California. There has been, if I recite the bills, going all the way back to Proposition 13, which reduced the tax revenue, going on to, and that was in like the late 70s, going on to Proposition 226, which was trying to reduce the ability of unions to participate in politics. Proposition 97, 5 or 7 years later, same thing. And Proposition 226, which was voted down this past November, the same kinds of bills coming from the same group of folks who just want to mitigate any kind of power and any kind of influence working families can have. It's horrific. The great thing about it is we do have great political action departments. All of our unions do, from the AFL-CIO to the building trades affiliates of the AFL-CIO. We all understand the importance of playing in that field of political action and electing those who share our values.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll talk about one, Flash, that we're very proud of, and one that is from us, and one that is of us. The one that came from us is in District 2 in Wisconsin. Mark Pocan, a member of our union, was elected to Congress in big part of the work that organized labor did to get him elected. One who is of us, who of course you know, Ohio's own Sherrod Brown. We were lucky enough this past week, we had our legislative conference, Building Trades Legislative Conference. And of course, that's an annual event where we gather and we hear, the state of the building trades from our own Sean McGarvey, building trades president, bringing up things going on in organized labor, the national vision, the international view, and also hearing from our legislators. And at the end of our 2-day session, we spend the third day going to lobbying. And thanks to Jim Wittroba and his team, we had a luncheon in the Hart office building for the IUPAT delegates. And sure enough, who addressed us? Sherrod Brown and Mark Pocan. Mm-hmm. And that's just a testimony of people who are of us and from us, who know where they came from, know where their support comes from, and fight for us every day. And we need more people like that on the Hill to get the bills such as the Water Resource Bill, the Water Infrastructure Finance and Innovation Act, the Keystone Pipeline, all of those things that mean jobs to the members of my union and to workers all across the country.
Very good. So you had a pretty good meeting. I see even Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid was on that agenda, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. I was lucky enough, fortunate enough to be able to meet with the three of the leaders. I met with Leader Reid, Speaker Pelosi. I still call her Speaker Pelosi, and Minority Whip Steny Hoyer. And the message that we really try to do, and we try to keep it simple, Flash. I mean, we talk about things that are important to us is working families. And one thing that we're very proud of, because we feel that it helps level the playing field and it helps the infrastructure of this country, is with all three of those folks. We talked about the cost of industrial coatings. Mm-hmm. Now, that sounds kind of wonkish and maybe a little bit boring to someone who's not aware of what these coatings do. Fewer than 10 years ago, the cost of industrial coatings ranged from to $25 to $75. Now, with the improvements in the type of components that are in those coatings, they cost over $250 per gallon. With that type of cost on materials and the equipment to apply those materials, you damn well better have someone who knows what they're doing when they're applying those coatings.
You bet.
And that's where we worked with a third-party independent organization called the Society for Protective Coatings. Our Finishing Trades Institute, which is our jointly funded training arm of the IUPAT, worked with the SSPC to develop this third-party certification. Now, anybody can talk about a third-party certification or say we have folks that are certified, and we can develop a marketing tool that says, yes, Ken Rigmaiden is a certified applicator specialist. But really, what's the meat to it if it's like an internal cert? Mm-hmm. What we do through our apprenticeship program and in working with the SSPC, train our apprentices, update the skill sets of our continuing journeymen, and then send them to the SSPC to be tested by the SSPC. so that the successful apprentice or journeyman that pass those tests become certified, not by the IUPAT, not by our training program, but a third-party certifying body that puts their seal of approval on the work that we do.
There you go.
That goes very well when we talk about the Water Resources Development Act, the Infrastructure Act, the work that we do on bridges and roadways, because let's face it, when you look at the state of our infrastructure, this is work that has to be done. We don't have a choice to not do it.
Mm-hmm.
How are we going to move ourselves, move commerce, be able to compete in the so-called world economy if we can't get around, if we can't have a good water supply, if we can't have a good national defense? Because it all connects to these coatings I'm talking about and our workers who get those certifications. One more thing I'll say about those coatings, if you talk about national defense, the lifetime of a Navy vessel is roughly 50 years. And would you believe that when that ship first comes out of dry dock as a new piece of equipment to come to the defense of our country, that it's got a maintenance schedule for the entire 50 years of its existence? And it's based on time.
Mm-hmm.
When those ships come in from their first tour for their first service maintenance stop, it's on a tight time path. And it's in and it's out, and they do this like in about a month and a half. And the only way that can be done is through a well-coordinated maintenance team, a well-coordinated coating applicator specialist team, and all the other crafts doing that kabuki dance to get that ship in and out on time. Because if it's not out on time, it not only screws up the life of that ship, it screws up the other ships that are scheduled to come in behind
Sure.
it. And as you know, and as our federal budget knows, as any businessman knows, time, efficiency is money. And we feel that this skill set, that this certification that we have shows the industry, shows our country that we're ready to contribute. We've got the skill set, we've got the safety awareness, we've got the proper skill knowledge and the ability to get the job done on time and under budget.
That's what it's all about.
Exactly.
Kenny, I could talk with you for hours. This is great stuff. I'm really going to enjoy the segments we do here.
Oh, absolutely.
And not to slight Jimmy. Jimmy was great too, and Jimmy has to, he put in his time, well over 40 years.
Yeah.
In
well,
the trades.
Let me tell you something. It really is a testimony. I mean, I learned from Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jimmy learned from me. And now like we started off this conversation talking about my vision for the IUPAT. And it's really simple. My vision is a continuation of the vision of Jimmy Williams. He's a great idea guy. We always would laugh and joke. Jimmy, you got it. That's a great idea. Let's make this thing happen. I'm a guy that I don't know if I have as good an idea as he does, but when there ain't a good idea that I can pass up that I won't try to apply.
Yeah.
And continuing the programs that have been developed and pushing forth some new ones, which you'll be hearing about. We've got like a marketing program that Jimmy Watroba and the rest of our business managers were shown earlier this year. We've got organizing plan, an organizing funding plan that's rolling out as we speak. And those are new things that are really a continuation of what we're doing. And if I said it in a sentence, Flash, it would be to increase the opportunities for the members and signatory employers and the prospective members and signatory employers of the IUPAT. It's all about job opportunities, and the IUPAT is about that.
You got it. Jobs, jobs, jobs.
There you go.
Kenny, great job as usual.
Oh, thank you. And Flash, I want to say, Jimmy Watroba, I love what you did with those contract negotiations. Congratulations on that, buddy.
He heard you, my friend.
All right.
Kenny, you take care. We'll talk to you next month.
Thank you so much. I look forward to it.
All right. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Kenny Rigmaiden. He's the new general president of the Painters and Allied Trade.